Hello, everyone. This is our meeting number 2. And I want to start our meeting how Eckhart Tolle is starting it. He was saying on one of his meetings, we are here to enter a different state of consciousness. And one important characteristic of the new state of consciousness is that we are not waiting for the future to be better than the present or anything great to happen. What he meant that we have everything right now with us. We're just unaware of it and we need to find it, and we will. And let me share the screen. So this is our homework. And I posted on our message board. Please look at it again and try to do it. Ben, if you want, you can make a screenshot or make a photo of homework and please try to do it. So can I move ahead? Так, let me make a slideshow. Okay, here we are. I like this. I want to remind us that we are divine of this universe. We are very, very, very important. And I want to start with our chat board. What do you think about it? By the way, Sean, you mentioned that you were reading the New Earth Awakening, and I'm interested, and I started to study it as well. And you were completely right. Many things I repeated. However, of course, some new insights I'm getting from it. So what I want to say, thank you for mentioning, Sean. What I want to say that if we will study this book thoroughly, we really won't need to read something else. Otherwise, what people do, including me, I was very addicted to reading and I couldn't stop. And I was reading. But you know, I read, I forget. I read, I forget. So it's actually was wasting of my life. So let's thoroughly learn it and get benefits. So is anybody thinks something about it? Do you have any thoughts about it? Yes, Brian.
I think actually it's kind of, let me see, I'm kind of just digesting it as I'm reading it, but it does seem to me that particularly, you know, in the affluent world, I guess, as we move further and further away from, you know, sort of working with, for lack of a better word, I guess, reality, or, you know, the like food. the further and further we get away from, you know, like doing real physical labor, I think we do sort of begin to lose something of the sense of how would I say this? We get more and more trapped in our head, I guess, as it were. You know, we get further and further away from the physical, and we can become more and more in the mental sense,
okay,
as it were.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have something to say.
Go ahead.
Well, I think in a globalized world where everything we have, somebody else was done it, and you don't know the people who did it. So you don't know. Many years back, you were going to the market and you could see the person who did every item, and he had a shop, and that's why he sold, and that's what he did. Today, everything you have, the shirt you have, your clothes, everything, you don't know these people at all.
Mhm.
Actually, we don't know Zoom, who does Zoom. We don't know. We don't know. So there's a loss of contact with the materiality.
Okay.
In other words, I don't think materiality is the problem. It's the energy that matter itself as what you put to it and how you connect to it. It's not matter. It's not form, and it's not the ego. It's how you relate to it.
Okay. Okay, Ben. Thank you. Thank you very much, Violetta, please.
I agree with Brian. The farther away you get from nature and you get to the city, the more of the emptiness you have, because the nature gives you the recharge. Even, walking on the ocean, walking by the trees, spending time in the forest, it gives you the recharge like nothing else. And it says about the pollution, I really liked it, because the further you're away from nature, the more pollution you're going to make because you don't care about it.
Okay. Okay. Very nice, Eddie. Anybody else? Thank you, guys. Let me say my opinion. What pollution is on the outer level? Pollution. Well, Violetta, you are right. There is no one answer. Douglas. Hello, Douglas. Please.
I wanted to say hello to you, and I want to say, yeah, we all go in and out of consciousness. Okay, that's a big thing. Okay, so 1 minute I could be, happy in my life, and the next minute I might not be. So things change all the time. So we have to be like the leaves of a tree. They fall, and I'm not worried about it. They're going to keep growing, though, growing and improving.
Thank you, Douglas. Thank you very much. So let me tell my opinion. I don't see anybody wants to add. What pollution is on the outer level? This means all our deeds which we are doing not good. It's all our enviness, it's our greediness, it's our rudeness, it's everything. And whatever we see, what we are doing, the source is negativity and inner. So it's not surprise, everything is going from inner, and what is inner is will be negativity. And he's saying that it's not only people who don't have enough, it's actually people who have too much. And he's asking surprising and answering no. And what does it mean that affluent world, how Brian said correctly, what affluent world is giving? The excess of everything. And we become more envy. Somebody had a beautiful car, I want that car too. Somebody had a huge TV, I wanted too. A bigger TV, bigger car, bigger homes. Enviness is growing because he's saying that we deeply identified with form. With what kind of form? It's just with things. We identify ourselves. And we spend our lives to catch it, to want it, to get it. So this is what he meant. But thank you, everyone. Everyone was correct. Yes, Brian.
It seems to me that it goes back to the thing about when you're hungry, right? When you're hungry, it's like enough to get enough food for the day. It's like when you're hungry, you just want to get enough food. You just want a good place to sleep and everything. But once you have sort of those basic needs sort of filled, then everything starts, it's like the need or whatever for a lot of people to sort of, become fulfilled or whatever sort of moves on to something else or what. I'm sorry, I can't quite say it, but
You're
it's
right.
like instead of, then all of a sudden it's like not enough to have a car. It's like, I want a better car.
Right.
I want a bigger house. I want a better bed. All of a sudden, once you sort of don't have to worry about that basic needs, then all of a sudden it's like you got to add on, and so you sort of start becoming more and more less about just, once you don't have to worry about that basic stuff, then everything's like, I want more.
Right, absolutely right. Douglas, please.
Yeah, I would tell you another thing, Abraham Maslow, self-actualization, where he said what we need, the 5 things is, first you need food, but you're not going to, okay, food and air. Then you need safety and housing, safety, environment. Then you go higher than that to, the third thing is consciousness. So you're aware of different things and so on, and that, what happened. Then the 4th level, which is that you get in a higher self. I believe in 5. Are you familiar with Abraham Maslow?
I've heard. I don't remember exactly everything, but yes, absolutely.
And he was, and then transformation comes on the 5th level. Once you have everything met, you have to first make sure you can take care of yourself, pretty
Right.
well. Then you can go and get those different things that are very important. And the psychology of it. The first one was Freud, which was the unconscious to conscious. The second one became behaviorism, which was B.F. Skinner, and the third one, I'll go ahead, was humanistic psychology, Fitz Perls and some of those. And the 5th one is transformational, which you recall Jung actually is on, they got him on the 2nd and the 3rd, but he's also on the 5th, which is transformational. So
Right.
it's very important, that we look at these different things. But I would let you guys talk. Okay, it's good.
Yeah, thank you, Douglas. Thank you. So, and after that, thank you for all your comments. I wrote one comment that about Tolle or Eckhart Tolle will teach us, if we will change our attitude, we will get more peace and less suffering. And Brian was disagree with it. And what I can tell you, Brian, you are, from your point of view, is absolutely right. I actually want to tell you thank you, because this is one of the most important turning point to understand this concept. And you make me think deeper. And right now I will explain what I mean, and I will tell that Brian was absolutely correct as well. So you remember that we cannot hold absolute truth. Absolute truth belong only to God. We all have relative truth. And while Brian is completely correct about attitude, because attitude is what we use, positive and negative attitude, right? It was what used in our psychology. However, attitude is a settled way of thinking and feeling. And with that part, feeling, never was used. And this, it would be actually our second homework. We will start to feel. Don't mix it with emotions, because emotions, it's energized thought pattern. What is the difference? What do you think between emotions and feelings?
Emotions are probably something, sometimes we can't always control them. It comes and goes, maybe.
Right?
Versus feelings a little more deeper.
Right.
Sometimes,
right,
you know
right.
what I mean? Like you had time to think about it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Very, very good answer. So we don't need to mix it. And I don't want to repeat everything what I wrote on our board. If you would like, you can read it again. So when we are going into feelings, our mind actually will shut down. But do you remember those moments of pure feelings, like we see something beautiful, we are saying, "Ah," and we feel it, we feel happiness, right? We feel fulfilled inside of us. And what is brain? Brain at that moment keeps silence. Only after, oh, what did I see? And brain start to analyze what we saw. So we need to feel that. Or for example, we are touching something. We still, brain is adding his work or its work a little bit later, right? Or what is it? This is something smooth, this is something warm or cold, right? So I'm talking about these feelings. And this exercise I actually took from one enlightened person with whom I corresponded for like quite a while. So I will share with you this exercise and I will encourage you to do that. And so you see, attitude is a little bit already I added feelings, and it's not I added, it's actually definition of attitude. What plus then we need to go into attitude of full acceptance. We need to accept where we are, who we are, and what we are at this moment. Because if we won't be able to accept it, we won't be able to move. And the spiritual is saying nothing will come into to us until we won't accept where we are. But it's not that acceptance when we are, remember when we talk, we are circling, I'm better, I'm unlucky, I'm unhappy. No, it's not that acceptance. It's accept who you are, where you are, what you did, how you came that, and then we will move ahead. But this is not only Eckhart Tolle is saying, all religions are talking about it. I'm sure Douglas know that all philosophies are talking about that we need to accept where we are and who we are.
The human condition.
Right, right.
Which
Thank you,
means
Douglas.
that you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days, and this is part of the whole thing, you know. To
Right.
let go and move.
Beautiful, beautiful, Douglas. We don't need to
I don't have a
skip.
good day today, but that's okay.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
So that's what it is, you know. Some people say, well, can you be enlightened and then be depressed? And I said, of course, you know, you're not going to always be 100%, you know, but if you get it more than half, you're doing pretty good.
Right,
You
right.
get-
Thank you.
you
Thank you,
get
Douglas.
60% of yourself, and maybe have a couple days that are not going as good for you. But guess what? It's over. That moment is over, you know, and then you go to the next. That's what Eckhart Tolle is trying to explain, and most of the other people, Ram Dass and the other people, that we live day to day. You know, once you know that, you can't. Okay, those things are in the past. Those things are, you know. Sorry, I'm you know using too much time on yours, but I'll try to help. But
Thank you, Douglas. And Eckhart Tolle thinking absolutely the same, and he's actually consider. But listen right now, guys. Consider the failure, loss, illness, and the other the same things to be the greatest teachers. Can you imagine? So what it means? I need to congratulate people who have all these problems. So they have great teachers. But of course, we don't need to look for them. And he's saying that we don't need to look for those problems to have that shift. We can do it right now. Doesn't matter where you are and who you are. But start to look at your problems, at your failure a little bit differently. This is what I want to tell. And and one more thing, we will get rid of attitude if we will be going to enlightenment, but not everybody can get enlightenment. However, it's possible. It's completely possible. But on the way, to enlightenment, we will get a lot of benefits, like reduce anxiety, more happiness, more fulfillment. This will be the benefit of that. But in order to obtain that, we still a little bit need to use our mind. Because if we will have this idea in our head, oh, I will go beyond my mind and that's it. No, it doesn't work like this. We cannot skip a thing. We need to, how I said, accept where we are and put our willpower to work constantly. And I wanted to finish this thing with Jesus example. Do you remember he went to wilderness or desert, and he was fasting there for 40 days, and he was tempted by the devil. Do you think by whom he really was tempted? It just will be my opinion, and if we will go along with Eckhart Tolle. Let me tell you, it will be again just my opinion. You can keep your opinion. Yes, Ben.
Well, I think the mind, because the mind, it was tempted by the mind, you know, by himself.
Perfect.
You know what I mean? And the mind has this, I call it like glue. It glues, everything get glued to it. The mind, it's very, I always practice, I always say to myself, if I didn't see it, if I didn't know about it, will I be worried about it? And the answer is no. If I won't be, but when you see something, you identify with what you see. And then you become, you have a judgment over it. And then you think that it should be one way or another. But if you didn't see it, if you were not to see it there, like you were on a vacation, you won't ever be able to have a judgment of it because you won't be there. So I always try, like, if I was not there, you know, imagine myself. And I do it, and I don't think it's, but the mind has like a Velcro, it just sticks, you know what I mean? It holds it. It copies. It's just like something very powerful. The mind is very powerful.
Thank you, Ben. I agree with you. It's a great answer to me. What I wanted to say about Jesus is that he put effort to his enlightenment. We have a choice. If we want to get enlightenment quickly, we can do what Jesus did, and we get it quickly. But if we don't want that quickly, we can spread it for years. And finally, everybody can get enlightenment. However, we need to put power, we need to put willpower, dedication, and the austerity, and we will get it. How 7 Habits said, right, that we are the creator of our own reality. Without willpower, we cannot reach much. And very briefly about birth, I don't know why it came into my mind that even on unconscious level, we can have some effect. Do you know children who were born from a cesarean section? Unfortunately, psychologically, they don't have as much drive as children who were born vaginally. And do you know why? Because while children are getting birth, they are going through actually pretty big fight and struggle. In order to be born, they are fighting for their, not survival, to come to this world, and it stays in their unconscious level. But if children were born that easy, it's by Caesarean section, they don't have this in under their unconscious level. And the parents who educated, they know that it's not like the end of the world. It's not like complete bad that they don't have completely drive. No, they have, but less. So, and parents needs to first avoid that and go with a natural birth. But if it's a necessity and it's life under danger, of course, go for it. But get the children to teach them that if something didn't happen, go ahead. You need to do that. You will do it. So encourage children. Yes, Sean, please.
That's what they say about like children, where something happens when they're young, you know, you think you won't remember. And the thing is you're right, you probably don't remember. But the thing is your emotions still remember what happened. Like if you're born in wartime or there was some sort of trauma. I mean, people that were the most elegant bachelor that were royalty somehow didn't marry and they figured that it was an unhappy childhood. You know what I mean? Something happened to, you know, they could have been around because there was war and all that. Well, you're picking up on all that energy before you really understand. That's like, especially with babies, they say it's not really what you say, it's how you say it. They're just picking off energy more than anything. That just triggers about how strong your emotions can be.
Right.
You know?
You're absolutely right. Thank you for adding. And I want to share this. Yes, what Maharaj said. He's an enlightened person as well. He said, whatever we left unattained become undeveloped. So this is the problem with a positive and negative attitude, which Brian mentioned in 20th centuries, what is going. So if we escape negative situations or somebody else constantly help us, we remain undeveloped. So we are getting stronger. Whatever doesn't kill you, make you stronger. And it's not just a song from lyrics from the song, it's the reality. This is one of the most famous Indian masters saying. So if we avoid the problems and do not face them, we become undeveloped. So he's saying, just give full attention to what in you is crude and primitive, unreasonable and unkind, altogether childish, and you will ripen. It is the maturity of heart and mind. Yes, again, mind that is essential. And he's, of course, talking about enlightenment. I just didn't put everything. But of course, we don't need to go for enlightenment. We are here for benefits, the way to enlightenment. So sounds like a lot of work, right? But it's all unattainable. And right now, Ben, I will ask you. And the plus, guys, we are preparing for quantum leap jump. It's huge. I absolutely love. I would love to be enlightened. I don't want to hide it. I think it's fantastic. Yes, Ben, please tell what do you want to say? Ben, can you add something?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think everybody can be enlightened, all of us.
Right.
The difference is the only problem is we are trying to escape from it. I know, like a strange thing, you know, we really don't want it because we have to confront ourselves. And if we confront ourselves, we cannot escape from ourselves. So it's one of those things that the only way you escape yourself is really confronting yourself, not escaping yourself.
Right, right. Good aging. Thank you, Ben. Douglas, please.
Enlightenment is see the light. When you see the light, okay, shining, you know you reached a different stage, you know, so you understand, you know, these experiences. And Ken Wilber said, if you meditate for 20, Ken Wilber's terrific. You have to read some of his stuff from Colorado. He really is really, if you want to read somebody good in enlightenment, he talks about it. He said in 20 years of meditation, you will become enlightened.
Yes, yes.
He's very good.
Yes, thank you. Let's move ahead. So this is, I prepared for you just for fun. We are already preparing ourselves for quantum leap. So be ready for that. Is it exciting? So, and this, let's talk very briefly, because this is the essence of so many books. So this is a little bit already different books, but all it's Eckhart Tolle. So how do you understand the first? Spiritual truth never needs convincing. What do you think about it? You don't need to persuade anybody, you don't need to convince anybody. And what is to you spiritual truth? Yes, Ben.
Well, when you don't need to add neither subtract.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Very, very precise answer.
Before me and after me, the same.
Okay. Yes. Yes. That's absolutely right, Anu. Let's look. Yes, the spiritual truth is objective and not subjective or biased on one's opinion. Are you good with the objective and subjective? I will just refresh. The word objective refers to fact that are probable and verifiable, and subjective, on the other hand, refers to personal feelings, viewpoints, opinion, and the biases, right? And where can we find the spiritual truth? Spiritual truth never needs convincing. Where is the spiritual? Where can we find it? Ben, please.
In ourself. In ourself.
In Delphi.
Where?
Delphi.
Delphi? I don't understand.
Yeah, in Delphi, Greece, know yourself.
Okay. Okay. Know yourself, but where we can find spiritual truth, and what is in your opinion? Give me an example of spiritual truth.
That's in our brain. Okay.
No,
Go ahead.
it's always limited, subjective and objective. It's always you have to prove it either way. But you don't need to prove nothing. Nothing needs to be done.
Let's have to be.
Okay.
As soon as
Right.
anything subjective and objective, one way or another, you have to prove either. So in reality, it's neither the two. It's the purple pill. It's not the blue. It's not the red.
Okay. Okay.
It's neither of the two. You don't need to choose. The moment you choose, you already become dual. You become this or
Actually-
that. This way or that way. It's
Okay,
neither of the
you're-
two. It's neither of the two.
Yes, yes, you are talking about objective and subjective. I agree with you. But who is answering? What do you think? Where can we take spiritual truth? Where is the source of the spiritual truth?
It's the mind. The mind.
The mind? I think
Yeah.
our mind is subjective.
Yeah, it's not. It's when you're not there. When you're not there. When you don't need yourself.
When you're a baby, you're enlightened.
Yeah.
Okay. The baby is enlightened. So we lose it, we get educated, and actually we don't get educated. You know what I mean, Ben? We don't get educated. You know, and that's part of the problem. All this education that we get a lot of time takes us away from being enlightened.
Okay, okay. Richard, hello, Richard. I didn't see you. How was your week? Thank you for joining us.
Good to see everyone too.
Okay. Well, to me, spiritual truth, and I don't claim that I'm right, but to me, everything what is around us is a spiritual truth. Because how we talk, God is conscious. So the sun is during the day. This is the truth. Who would argue with it? I don't need to convince anybody. I don't want to convince that the sun is hot. I don't need to convince that the water is wet. And God is spiritual. So, and God is conscious. So everything is spiritual what we see. How's about this? We believe in so many things on hearsay, and we never care to verify. The way to truth lies through the destruction of the false. To destroy the false, you must question your most inevitable beliefs. What kind of inevitable beliefs are inveterate beliefs? So it means like your most deep beliefs. What does he mean here? What do we believe in?
We believe what people tell us or what the media says or.
Anything deeper? Yes, you're right. You're completely right. Anything deeper. Because he's talking about inveterate beliefs. So what we have belief which is in us very, very deep. Yes,
Probably
Brian?
from childhood and your parents, what you were born, you know.
Right.
Most of us get our religious background from our parents.
Right.
You know, that's something, our morals. You know.
Right. Right. Brian?
Genetic, epigenetics.
Genetics
carry-
here's talking about we believe on hearsay. So it's how Sean said that we don't, whatever was from childhood and everything. But I see what you mean, Ben. Would you like to finish?
Don Quixote was enlightened. The man of La Mancha.
Yeah, Brian and Richard was online. They need to talk.
Okay, Brian, please.
Well, I was gonna say, you know, like religious and cultural, you know, your religious and cultural beliefs and societal beliefs are all sort of inveterate beliefs that run deep, and those kind of things you need to really question, and your role in society and stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely. Richard, please.
But when you're born with enlightenment.
Well,
Then we get out of it.
the word hearsay is a bit strange to me. Hearsay is something negative, but I guess it means things that we just hear, that we don't have any basis to know, any facts to have further belief in. But I wouldn't discount that emotions and how what we hear makes us feel is things that we can then also believe.
Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't pay much attention. This is translation to some words which can be weird to you because, you know, this is translation from Indian. It can be some words which we don't use. However, it was translated by his students and they were much care more about the precise meaning to say, but thank you, Richard. And this, I think we just can contemplate on it and we can return to it later to defensiveness. So we never care to verify. Let me a little bit shake some of one of you inveterate beliefs. And this is not that I'm against it. This is just came into my mind and I want to show how we are never cared to verify our the most deep beliefs. Do you know that probably the most famous book of Bible and we are all following, or we read, or we respect, or we believe, it's our unvetted beliefs, right? And is anybody was scared to read the Bible, what we are devoting our life, what we believe. I am not really sure that we even care was to read the Bible. Do you know that the act of murder and rape is one of the most heinous crimes imaginable, are rampant in the Bible. And you know, there is laws everywhere, not everywhere, 49 laws of laws of killing for absurd reasons, such as working on Sabbath, being gay, cursing your parents, not being a virgin, and even killing children and infants. This is our very important source of our beliefs. Let's see, how's about this? A man may sell his daughters as sex slaves as long as he does not sell them to foreigners. See, guys, no problem. Just don't sell your daughters to not to foreigners, not to sell it some of your neighbor. How's about this? Yes, Ben.
I think we all have to be careful how we paint, the brush we paint anything. Because then it's not what you listen, what somebody said, do you really know this? And if you don't know, if somebody said something, whatever it is, and you believe what they said, it could be in the Bible, Quran, it could be in the Dhammapada, it could be in any text, in any book, even Eckhart Tolle. Do you know it? And if the answer is no, that's exactly what it is for you. Even though it may be truth or not for somebody else. But for you, is it true for you? And if the answer is no, you're just talking. You don't have no empirical experience.
Yes, Ben. So
in other words, it
no.
doesn't matter what you say, Lena. You can say something, not because somebody else said it, or because they did that, or because it's written. It has nothing to do with you. Do you know this? And if the answer is no, it doesn't exist for you.
Yes, Ben, if I correct understood you, you mean, and I agree with you, that if even the whole world believe in something, you don't need to join it. You need to find your truth inside
Yeah.
of yourself.
Yes,
You,
your
Ben.
empirical truth. Yes. In other words, I can tell you the water is hot, but the only way you know the water is hot is for you to get in the water or to touch it. You may see steam, you may see different aspects, but you really don't know for you. And then even though it may be hot for me and hot for you, it's still different hot for you and hot for me. Even in that level, still you don't know what somebody else experienced. You only can know what
Thank
you
Ben.
experienced.
Yes,
So
thank
you
very much.
have to be very careful, I will tell you, because especially in America, when sometimes we come in America from different tribes across the world, and we bring with us different, I call it cultural knowledge or knowing or beliefs. And sometimes you say it, and I know exactly where it comes from because it's more prevalent in certain areas of the world than other areas of the world. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, do you know this as a fact? Your experience, did you see it?
Yes, Ben, thank you so much.
Yeah, if you didn't see it, it's not true, period.
Yes,
It's only
yes,
true
I got,
for you.
we got your point. Thank
Yeah.
you. Ben.
I'm sorry, Lena.
No, that's fine, but we got your point. This is already what you said, and I accept it, and I agree with you. Thank you, Ben. Richard, please.
Thank you too.
Well, certainly, I have some common agreement with Ben. I would just extend what he said, that if you haven't seen it or if you haven't verified it yourself, Not that it's not true, but it may or may not be true. And I think that's the way I would accept it. For example, this particular text that you have here, it certainly promote or it brings up a lot of emotion from all of us that read this. It's very, I guess, an aggressive thing to say, and anyone who would read this would say, "Oh my God!" Right? In which case, my initial reaction would be, "It's interesting, but if I'm not going to take a position on it until I actually read the entirety of Exodus and take in the context of what happened before and what happened after this particular statement and what it's referring to." So in that sense, I guess to a large part, I agree with Ben.
Okay, thank you. This is exactly supporting what Maharaj said, that we never care to check. I'm talking only about supporting his point of view. I don't take any position. However, if I would read this, to me, it's a heinous crime, ever imaginable. And let me, Ben, to continue, please, because it's already almost 7 and we didn't move ahead. Thank you so much. And please keep in mind, we will come back to you. Let's look next. Do know this is not only about rape, it's about murder. Do know if you have a stubborn child, just kill him by stoning. If you have a stubborn child, why to bother? Yes, Brian.
Well, you know what? I guess I'm not. I have a question for you. First off, exactly where are you going with this, Lena? I'm a little unclear about where you're going with this. I guess my point would be is that you know, that a lot of this, you have to remember that, you know, this stuff was written thousands of years ago, and the mentality and everything was different then. And whenever you approach historical documents, you sort of have to be careful about judging them in our point of view. But I don't think that's really where you're going with this. But I think it's still important that whenever you're approaching historical documents of any type, you have to sort of get the sense of the context of the times. I mean, I don't agree with the idea of stoning your kids, but, you know, I think I was listening just recently that up until like 200 years ago, or even less than that, you know, it was legal for, you know, kids. Basically, there wasn't the idea of childhood, you know, like kids could get married at the age of 12, even, you know, or younger than that. So it's just that whenever you approach any of that kind of stuff, and like I said, I don't think that's where you were going with it, but, you know, it may look heinous, but it's a different time completely.
Brian, thank you. I always value your honesty. What I want to leave, I actually wanted to go quickly through it. It was about that we never care to verify our beliefs, and the people spend their lives and value their beliefs. And there is, he's saying that from our beliefs occurred a lot of sufferings.
Yeah.
So this where I'm leading to. And Ben, would you like to say what you wanted to say?
Yeah. And also there's a scientific beliefs that because it can be proven, it doesn't make them good. I'll give you an example, like nuclear, you know, with the ability to make a nuclear bomb. And they already used it in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and probably they're going to use it again because they have enough of them to be used. You won't have something not to use it. It's a science. a nuclear bomb is science.
Well, it's a little bit more than that.
But wait, what I'm saying is, not because it's science and it can be done, it's
The
good.
way it's used, the way it's used, and what it's used for. But there's a lot of
But
common
still,
things.
it still is
Yeah,
science. It doesn't mean it's good or
Yeah.
bad. It could be done
Like
for
the common-
good,
it
like
could
a
be a
nuclear
protection,
plant,
it could be-
like nuclear therapy, like radiation therapy.
Okay, guys, yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Let's,
common stuff with
yeah,
the
thank you,
worldwide.
Ben. Thank you. Let's come back to our point. This is only was to prove that, not prove, to show that we need to check what we believe. It's only was that point. And I think we finished with our group chat, and we can go to Eckhart Tolle. Yes, Brian.
Well, I think what you were going there, Alina, the way I kind of see what you're trying to do there is to illustrate that, you know, like a lot of people would say, well, the Bible, for instance, is sort of a, you know, a fundamental truth for them, right?
Yeah.
But they don't really read it very well or don't read very much of it. So they're sort of saying, you know, yes, this is true or whatever, and then it's all good or whatever, without even bothering really to go into it, right? That's kind of what you were going for.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah,
Exactly.
that's what I kind of guessed you were going at, is that it's sort of like it's one of those sort of truths, if you will, that you were mentioning about the inveterate truths or whatever, that
Yes.
most people don't even look at or bother to question. But once, you know, they don't even know what's in there. They just believe
Exactly.
it, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's finish. It's already we spent enough time of it, and let's go for our listening. Please let me know if you see it. You see the text. Guys, do you see the text? Because I don't see you.
What is it, page 12 you're on?
Yes, so this
Yes,
is.
I see it.
Okay, thank you, Valentina. Everybody was here. Did we listen about God? About when you're saying being? Let's listen it again, because some of them I've heard and some of them not. We had two groups.
When you say being, are you talking about God? If you are, then why don't you say it?
The word God has become empty of meaning through thousands of years of misuse. I use it sometimes, but I do so sparingly. By misuse, I mean that people who have never even glimpsed the realm of the sacred, the infinite vastness behind that word, use it with great conviction, as if they knew what they are talking about. Or they argue against it, as if they knew what it is that they are denying. This misuse gives rise to absurd beliefs, assertions, and egoic delusions, such as, my or our God is the only true God, and your God is false, or Nietzsche's famous statement, God is dead. The word God has become a closed concept. The moment the word is uttered, a mental image is created, no longer perhaps of an old man with a white beard, but still a mental representation of someone or something outside you. And yes, almost inevitably, a male someone or something. Neither God nor being nor any other word can define or explain the ineffable reality behind that word. So the only important question is whether the word is a help or a hindrance in enabling you to experience that toward which it points. Does it point beyond itself to that transcendental reality, Or does it lend itself too easily to becoming no more than an idea in your head that you believe in, a mental idol? The word being explains nothing, but nor does God. Being, however, has the advantage that it is an open concept. It does not reduce the infinite invisible to a finite entity. It is impossible to form a mental image of it. Nobody can claim exclusive possession of being. It is your very essence, and it is immediately accessible to you as the feeling of your own presence, the realization, I am, that is prior to I am this or I am that. So it is only a small step from the word being to the experience of being.
What do you think about it? What are your thoughts? What you want to discuss? How do you understand the Nietzsche famous statement, God is dead? He actually said that enlightenment had eliminated the possibility of the existence of God. So because people who enlightened, they actually realized and see how the universe is working. And the Tolle will explain more about it. But basically what I shared, the idea that the God is the universe and we are part of him, like we have body and our cells. It's kind of what the enlightened people are explaining. And this is why Eckhart Tolle, he said that you are a divine here, your divine purpose, such that much we are important. And again, I want to say that it's becoming more an idea in your head, a mental idol. If you don't want to add anything, we can move ahead.
I think it means like God is dead anymore, right? Like he doesn't exist anymore. Like he's just a concept when we discuss him.
Right, Sean. He doesn't exist as a male with a beard sitting and looking at us and judging us. No, do not do that. Or some.
Or like the energy, like energy.
Yeah, so that beliefs is already do not supported by people who came from enlightenment or some experiences. But
Yeah,
this is my opinion.
yeah, I think it's dead more time. It's like almost 3,000 something years ago. God is dead because Pythagoras said man is measure of all things. In other words, the individual human being, not God, is the one who creates moral law and the ultimate source of value in your life. In other words, in your life, you give value to your life. Nobody else does it for you.
Right.
And you can believe anything you want to. Regardless what you do, you give value of what you believe.
Right.
So ultimately, you are the measure of your own life and the measure of all things because people follow other people. And the moment they follow other people, they let other people think for them rather than they thinking for themselves.
Okay.
That's why God is dead more than 3,000 years ago with Pythagoras when he said that. That's why Alexander the Great conquered the whole world because he could do that. And he thought he could do it and he did it. None before wanted to do that and became almost a living God for him, for himself, and for others. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Very, very good adding. So let's continue.
What is the greatest obstacle to experiencing this reality?
Identification with your mind, which causes thought to become compulsive. Not to be able to stop thinking is a dreadful affliction, but we don't realize this because almost everybody is suffering from it, so it is considered normal. This incessant mental noise prevents you from finding that realm of inner stillness that is inseparable from being. It also creates a false, mind-made self that casts a shadow of fear and suffering. We will look at all that in more detail later. The philosopher Descartes believed that he had found the most fundamental truth when he made his famous statement, "I think, therefore I am." He had, in fact, given expression to the most basic error, to equate thinking with being and identity with thinking. The compulsive thinker, which means almost everyone, lives in a state of apparent separateness, in an insanely complex world of continuous problems and conflict, a world that reflects the ever-increasing fragmentation of the mind. Enlightenment is a state of wholeness, of being at one, and therefore at peace. At one with life in its manifested aspect, the world, as well as with your deepest self and life unmanifested. At one with being. Enlightenment is not only the end of suffering and of continuous conflict within and without, but also the end of the dreadful enslavement to incessant thinking. What an incredible liberation this is. Identification with your mind creates an opaque screen of concepts, labels, images, words, judgments, and definitions that blocks all true relationship. It comes between you and yourself, between you and your fellow man and woman, between you and nature, between you and God. It is this screen of thought that creates the illusion of separateness, the illusion that there's you and a totally separate other. You then forget the essential fact that underneath the level of physical appearances and separate forms, you are one with all that is. By forget, I mean that you can no longer feel this oneness as self-evident reality. You may believe it to be true, but you no longer know it to be true. The belief may be comforting. Only through your own experience, however, does it become liberating. Thinking has become a disease. Disease happens when things get out of balance. For example, there's nothing wrong with cells dividing and multiplying in the body. But when this process continues in disregard of the total organism, cells proliferate and we have disease. The mind is a superb instrument if used rightly. Used wrongly, however, it becomes very destructive. To put it more accurately, it is not so much that you use your mind wrongly. You usually don't use it at all. It uses you. This is the disease. You believe that you are your mind. This is the delusion. The instrument has taken you over.
I think this is a fantastic question and fantastic answer. Please, any thoughts about it?
Yeah, I guess our mind plays tricks on us, like it, controls our thoughts and our emotions based on what we're thinking. So I guess that's what they mean by second guessing yourself.
Now, do you see do you feel it that he's saying, do you feel the resonance with his words inside of you, or you kind of doubt or disagree, or what are your thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, I agree. Our
Okay.
mind uses us, it makes us think the wrong thing sometimes, and that's when we, second guess ourselves, and maybe we fail at things. When we were a child, I don't know, I guess depending on what culture you're from, everyone's got a whole bunch of child books, but we have one in America. The little engine that could, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, but that's one thing. But if you're thinking the wrong thing, that's going to take you down the wrong direction in the same sense.
Yes.
If that adds to it.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Brian and
Yeah, I
Richard are
think
waiting to say something.
I think therefore I am. They said it right there. I think therefore I am.
Right, Douglas?
Brian and Richard are waiting to talk.
Yeah, but that's fine. Thank you. They are fine. If they want to say something, they will. They are not shy. But thank you so much for thinking of them. It's very, very nice of you. Yes, I really want to pull attention this identification with your mind. This is the problem. And we talk on 7 Habits a lot about it. Guys, if we will start to remember that we are much bigger, brighter, we are part of God, we are beautiful, then we will understand that this is our temporary life and we got our bodies. And in order to support our bodies for survival, we have our mind. So, and we need to learn how to control our minds.
That's correct.
And
Very much so.
thank you. And the thinking has become a disease. Oh my God. This is so important. Yes, and we are actually proud of our thinking. I am. I was really proud of, yes, I'm logical, I'm thinking, I can think, I can answer. And it doesn't mean, again, we don't need to go to extreme and now to think, oh, thinking is horrible. No, thinking is incredible instrument, but we need, how he said that, superb instrument, but we need to use it rightly. And so let's learn how to use it rightly.
I don't quite agree. It is true that I do a lot of aimless thinking like most people, but I can still choose to use my mind to get and accomplish things. And I do that all the time.
Just because you can solve a crossword puzzle or build an atom bomb doesn't mean that you use your mind. Just as dogs love to chew bones, the mind loves to get its teeth into problems. That's why it does crossword puzzles and builds atom bombs. You have no interest in either. Let me ask you this. Can you be free of your mind whenever you want to? Have you found the off button?
This is incredible. Do you have an off button from your minds? If not, we need to know for sure that mind is using us. Mind is taking over us. This is a complete proof who is ruling to whom.
You mean stop thinking altogether? No, I can't, except maybe for a moment or two.
Then the mind is using you. You're unconsciously identified with it, so you don't even know that you are its slave. It's almost as if you were possessed without knowing it. And so you take the possessing entity to be yourself. The beginning of freedom is the realization that you are not the possessing entity, the thinker. Knowing this enables you to observe the entity. The moment you start watching the thinker, a higher level of consciousness becomes activated. You then begin to realize that there is a vast realm of intelligence beyond thought. That thought is only a tiny aspect of that intelligence. You also realize that all the things that truly matter, beauty, love, creativity, joy, inner peace, arise from beyond the mind. You begin to awaken.
Please say something, guys.
Should we raise our hands or just speak?
Yeah, you can just speak.
Go for it, Brian.
Well, I was just thinking that, to me, this is really something that caught me, I think. The idea of trying to move beyond, or trying to, that the mind, I guess, is controlling me, I guess. And I guess I realized that it's sort of fundamental, at least for me, that I really did need to learn from this, because I think in my day-to-day life, I can see the negative side effects of it. So it's I can really testify to what he's saying, I guess.
Yes.
Go ahead, Richard.
Yes.
The part that's separate from the mind, that part of that is us, that's me. So some would call that the soul,
Yes.
and others have different names for it. And so, thinking of it that way, you could see that there are some things that ourselves we can interrupt the mind. We can also change the mind on occasions. We use that phrase, I changed my mind. There is definitely something apart from the mind that makes us tick. Absolutely.
Okay. It's
I think I like the part where it says like control our mind. It's like our whole life, especially when we're kids, control yourself. They always say control, even as adults, we're like control our body language, sit up straight, do this, don't fidget, that. But nobody really ever told me so much to control my mind, control your mind and your thoughts.
exactly.
Actually, that's probably what I need to hear more now as I'm older anyway. Not that anybody didn't tell me, to be fair to somebody who probably told me something when I was younger, but I think it really dawned on me to control your own thoughts, be careful of the thoughts as you're thinking and what you're telling yourself, because you can tell me how great I am, but if I'm telling me how horrible I am, things probably aren't going to go well for me. And, because sometimes I'm guilty of that, just keep incestuous thinking, or compulsive was the word. How you're
Mhm.
compulsively thinking the same thing over and over, the same argument, the same fight, and then you turn around and it's all over the place, So I enjoyed that part.
Absolutely. I also think it's a tremendous paragraph. What I want to add to you, Sean, that yes, nobody is telling that. And see how many few enlightened people. I can tell you, I know some of them, and it's very difficult to find them. And the topic, when you start to talk about it, I can tell you, you won't be able to talk about this stuff to no one. They just don't get it. They won't understand you. They will say that, oh, you again, like you are going to some kind of psychological thing. So people are not ready or don't accept it. So it's very, very rare. But to me, it's so truth. It's my relative truth, which I believe and support with all my heart. And
Yeah, because all society is based on fear to lose something. I mean, you have an identity. You create an identity after years going to school, doing this, doing that, going bank accounts, owning property. It's everything in society is to add. And suddenly, from one day to another, say, wait a moment, that's not the direction I have to go. I have to go the other direction. I have to think instead of thinking outside or lateral or lineal, I have to go backwards. I have to go inside. I have to think inside. And if I think inside, everything that I have, it's not like it's going to lose value because the world will give it value. You don't have to do nothing. Other people give it value, so you can get value from it that other people give it. But in reality, it's you. What value do you have?
Okay.
And most people are afraid to accept that they don't have no value. They're nothing. And this vacuum or this nothingness that they are, and everything that they cannot live with it. It's too much. Their thoughts cannot sustain in nothing. You have to have form. The thoughts have to create form in order to sustain in form. Thoughts without form are different. It's not like they're not there, but they're different. They don't have a physical manifestation. And most of the time we're afraid not to have the physical manifestation for our mind. That's what the mind is fighting all the time. In your mind, in you, it's fighting all the time.
Thank you, Ben.
Well,
Do you know, while I agree with what you say, don't know, we will talk about it in further. Right now, we need to discuss what it was we've heard. So please, let's stay on the topic. But everything what you said, I will remember and we will discuss in further because you are saying good points. Thank you so much. And let's continue.
no mind.
What exactly do you mean by watching the thinker?
When someone goes to the doctor and says, I hear a voice in my head, he or she will most likely be sent to a psychiatrist. The fact is that, in a very similar way, virtually everyone hears a voice or several voices in their head all the time. The involuntary thought processes that you don't realize you have the power to stop, continuous monologues or dialogues. You've probably come across mad people in the street, incessantly talking or muttering to themselves. Well, that's not much different from what you and all other normal people do, except that you don't do it out loud. The voice comments, speculates, judges, compares, complains, likes, dislikes, and so on. The voice isn't necessarily relevant to the situation you find yourself in at the time. It may be reviving the recent or distant past, or rehearsing or imagining possible future situations. Here it often imagines things going wrong and negative outcomes. This is called worry. Sometimes this soundtrack is accompanied by visual images or mental movies. Even if the voice is relevant to the situation at hand, it will interpret it in terms of the past. This is because the voice belongs to your conditioned mind, which is the result of all your past history, as well as of the collective cultural mindset you inherited. So you see and judge the present through the eyes of the past and get a totally distorted view of it. It is not uncommon for the voice to be a person's own worst enemy. Many people live with a tormentor in their head that continuously attacks and punishes them and drains them of vital energy. It is the cause of untold misery and unhappiness, as well as of disease. The good news is that you can free yourself from your mind. This is the only true liberation. You can take the first step right now. Start listening to the voice in your head as often as you can. Pay particular attention to any repetitive thought patterns, those old gramophone records that have been playing in your head perhaps for many years. This is what I mean by watching the thinker, which is another way of saying, listen to the voice in your head, be there as the witnessing presence. When you listen to that voice, listen to it impartially. That is to say, do not judge. Do not judge or condemn what you hear, for doing so would mean that the same voice has come in again through the back door. You will soon realize, there's the voice, and here I am listening to it, watching it. This I am realization, this sense of your own presence is not a thought. It arises from beyond the mind.
You probably recognize our homework. So what do you want to say?
So it kind of means like you're observing yourself, like you're stepping outside of yourself and observing what's going on. And, you know, you can kind of see the negative side of you saying things, and you should be like, you know, if you could see from a third perspective, you would think maybe you shouldn't even be listening to that voice. That's what he means by watching the thinker.
Yes.
You know, you could be sabotaging your own success by thinking, nah, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? If you catch yourself thinking that, you should be consciously aware of your unconscious thought that that's not going to happen. And then you should know that it's not going to make it happen. So to maybe keep trudging forward past that, so to speak.
So I see what you mean, and I agree with you. What I can just share my experience, and we will see what he's saying as well. Yes, Ben.
Don't mind.
It's almost
No,
describing my
no.
life, you know what I mean? The mind can never be satisfied. But we use the mind to satisfy the mind. That's why we just cannot quiet the mind, because it's always unsatisfied.
Okay.
Now, if you're not the mind, what are you? Something else than the mind. So if you're not your mind or your thoughts, you are something else, and you know that you've been played by your thoughts. And you know this, but the grass is always greener on the other side. It's always greener. It always looks more green. Your grass doesn't look that green. Why? Because the mind needs new impulses. It needs new identifications to keep surviving. And when the mind dies, something else is reborn.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, guys, what I want to say that this is a beautiful, beautiful exercise which we need to continue. And how it's, I mentioned at the beginning, and I want just repeat, be very kind to yourself. We were living all our lives this way. So just start to, how is it working? First, we will be gone with the thought. Because we used to be gone with the thoughts, we are starting to interact with the thought. We start to continue to talk to the thought, and this way we are giving life to the thought. So what we need to find the moment and catch, oh, thought came into my mind. Hello, thought. And the way, if you don't interact with it, it will go away. But I can guarantee you how it was in me, and it is, the next thought will come right away. And it's not that you generate that thought, unfortunately. You might think that it's you generate your thought. No, the thought generates somehow by themselves, and they are dropping in our head. Of course, some thought we can generate forcefully if we want to have interest. Yes, we are thinking on our own, but how often is that? So watch your thoughts try to just do not give them life. And this should be taking time, but with time you will notice that you are better and better. And I want to give you another exercise from enlightened person, which I've got. This is about feelings. So how we mentioned that the feelings do not connect to our mind. And Eckhart Tolle, he's mentioning as well that he's saying with these moments like this is the feeling, but we don't need to go and do that. Just go and walk in your body without thinking, without identification that I'm walking from my head. No, this path needs to describe. Just feel inside yourself. Or if you're going on nature, just watch on nature. And the colors, the singing of the birds, or the noise of the leaves, the wind will be much brighter. And try to stay as much as possible. And again, be kind to yourself, it wouldn't be long, because do know, whatever we are going on nature, we don't see it. We are in our thoughts and we are mechanically go. So be present. This is our 2 homework for the next week. Anybody wants to add? What is your takeaway? And any suggestions and comments? So how's about twice a week? Is it too much? Who would like to, let me stop to share the screen. Who would like to have twice a week put some sign?
Why don't we do like Saturday morning and then today, I guess.
Okay. Anybody?
Another time like this during the week, it wouldn't work between jobs.
Lena, I think you should do it whenever you can do it, because you're the one doing it. And everybody, if they can do it or not, it depends on you. But we don't ask you to do it. Whatever you feel like to do it.
Okay, actually, I see your point, and my point why I am offering that, I just feel that it's not enough for this book. But the whole week passed, and do you know where we are? We are on page 18, and plus I skipped 6 pages, so I think we will read it till the like a couple of years, and it's we can even lose interest in it. So let's try. Yes, Douglas.
The whole thing of mind over matter, what the importance that we have a brain, and the brain is to use the brain. Okay, so in a lot of ways, we have to remember that's one thing I put that when listening to what he was talking about. But the brain is extremely important. Okay.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Douglas. Thank you. Sean, what time on Saturday would work?
Oh, we like 11 o'clock.
Okay, it's how I set up regionally. Let's try. Let's try. So Saturday 11 I schedule, and we will keep this time.
Okay.
So you want to try twice a week then?
Yes.
Saturday and Monday, Saturday and today.
I see.
What does that look for?
Tremendous.
I'm Batman, and you're the Joker. You're like, I see, aha. Is that like you have an alternative motive? Like what? You can't get up at 11 o'clock on Canadian time?
No, it's 9 o'clock here, actually. It's 9 o'clock here. No, I can wake. It's not that. It's No, it's okay. It's just, okay.
Okay,
That's fine.
guys. Thank you so much. I tremendously enjoyed our conversation. Please participate in our group chat. I know you are busy, but at least read what is there. So thank you so much, and see you this Saturday at 11 a.m. Bye-bye.